There's a lot of things in metal that are deemed silly or like melodramatic, but there's a certain honesty in that, you know. There's a certain honesty in the fucking picked on loner fucking screaming his head off and playing powerful guitar, you know what I mean? So, I'm not saying that everybody is a picked on loner that makes metal, but some of the things that appeal to me about it. So.
What are you picking up on?
Just that general feeling of being totally tranquil, serene, just, you know, the essence of nature seeping in and then becoming one with it. You could stand here in a trance for long enough. Next thing before you know it, you feel like your feet are connected to the roots of the forest, your hands are connected to all the branches, and you're just at one with it. You're a part of it.
Most black metal artists, when they say the word kill, they'd be like, kill!
Yeah.
But then you could take it to like something like you do.
I like to like.
Can you do it loud? No? Oh, that's fine.
Maybe.
If you don't want to, that's fine. It'd be cool if you did, though. Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Black metal has always been outsider art in its most brutal form. Back in the 80s, European bands like Venom, Bathory, and Celtic Frost were the first to release these kinds of violent, lo-fi records filled with blast beats, satanic imagery, and shrieking vocals. As black metal birthed a second wave out of Norway and a third wave from the US, the most compelling figures to emerge out of the genre's evolution are the true loners. Artists who play all their own instruments and don't just scream about isolation and misanthropy, but live it. These one-man black metal bands convey a rage and emotional noise that make the people who conceive them even more fascinating. This is who we set out to find. Three living one-man black metal artists who have never before given the public a peek into their solitude. The gold standard of US black metal is Leviathan, a band created solely by Jeff Whitehead under the guise of an entity called Rest. As Leviathan, Whitehead built songs with layers of complex instrumentation and vocals that sound like the strangulated howls of the devil. Jeff has always been adverse to publicity. Leviathan has never played live, leaving almost 30 releases over a dozen years to speak for themselves. For a long time, you were just completely inaccessible. I had a hard time finding you. Everybody I tried to, when I was trying to track you down, everybody was like, you'll never find him. You'll never find Jeff Whitehead. He's fallen off the face of the earth.
Well, because I don't own a computer, so I don't answer my emails. I never look at them. I don't have time for that, and I'm not into sharing.
It's a life that has forced Jeff into an almost solitary existence. Self-taught on first drums and then guitar, At an early age, he was already developing an insane work ethic, one that removed him from the everyday reality of his life and dictate that he focus only on learning and creating. Whether he was playing in math rock or punk bands, Jeff never relented on developing the intense and absolutely brutal sound of what would later be called Leviathan.
I've always been in bands that I wish were harder. I wish were fucking more punishing. I wish were more crushing. And that band Gift Horse I was in the early 90s, I would always like suggest songs, and he was always telling me to get a 4-track. Well, I got my 4-track. So I was just doing it for me. I was just doing it, you know? And I'm like, whoa, I'm making music that I would actually like to listen to, so I get them. A lot of the reason why I never worked with anybody else, because like when I was really hot shit and doing all that, putting out all those demos, like I don't want to wait for somebody. I want to fucking do it now. I want to do it every chance I have. And so doing that in my house was a way to do that. I've always wanted Leviathan to be fast. Leviathan's not that fast, but it's as fast as I can play. The older I get, the harder it is to play like fast for long periods of time. I've always wanted Leviathan to deal with like the more of a left-handed path aspect, you know. Not LaVey Satanism, but, you know, anger and just kind of be more ferocious. And then, like, the other stuff I've done is just, like, a little bit mellower and, like, more relaxed and less of an objective for the final outcome, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, just whatever happens, happens.
This is Tasmania. We're on an island off the southern coast of Australia covered with mist-shrouded mountains and endless miles of bushland. It's not exactly where you'd expect to unearth a black metal band, but it's where we found Russell Menzies, better known by his pseudonym Sin Nana, and his band Striborg. Unlike other black metal artists who live in the world their music rejects and have to actively seek out the isolation they scream about, Russell's life is naturally removed from society. Striborg's strongest influence is the natural realm. His connection to this landscape is what brought us halfway around the world to Medina, Tasmania. Are the people here in town aware of who you are and what you do?
No, not at all. Nobody knows about that at all.
What do you think their reactions would be if they knew who you are and what you do?
I don't think it'd be a very good thing at all. If people were to Google up Striborg or black metal, the negative shit comes to you on the screen, you know, all the bad stuff about it, so they'll probably absolutely hate me and throw rocks through the window or whatever. But yeah, all they hear is when I play the drums and so forth. What I'm trying to do here is, you know, call the shots, keep contact with humanity to a bare minimum. But I've found that as the years go by, the solitude that I used to enjoy so much is becoming a problem. It's more like a window into depression, because I think I've had long-term solitude, and that's what the main effect has been. I've spent too much time alone, and it drives you a bit nuts.
If you're channeling this into your music, how does it translate?
I'm just a carrier. I'm just like the medium for doing this. The instruments are mimicking the elements and the essence of nature, for sure. Like guitar would be the mist, the frost, the snow, winter and so forth. Drums would be like the heart of the land, the trees and the rocks and certain things like that. The vocals are like the voice of the forest. It's all just about, its atmosphere is important, nothing else matters.
Nobody we met personified their lyrics about isolation and despair like Scott Connor, the man behind Xasthur. We tracked him down outside of Los Angeles, amid the palm trees of Alhambra, California, an unlikely place as any for a guy who makes such dark, depressive music. Xasthur's sound is unmistakable. Walls of guitar noise and mournful keyboards, topped off with strangled screams. Scott is extremely protective of his identity. Until now, he's never shown his face on camera. But he agreed to let us shoot at his house, where he writes and records all of his music.
This is the drum set I bought a few years ago. It's not a drum machine, like contrary to popular belief. It's not free loops or anything like that.
Scott has put out almost 24 releases since 1999. And his style has earned Xasthur attention outside of the usual circle of black metal fans. This looks like the newer one, the Revenge.
I had to have it. I spent the last of my money about 6 months ago buying it. I told myself I would stop putting money into music, but I kind of had to have it.
Why did you decide to stop putting money into music?
Music doesn't really give you enough in return to keep putting the little you got into it all the time and time again. The music, it's really like a love-hate thing that I have for it, you know. In the literal sense of doing it, writing it and recording it. That's when it doesn't matter who listens to it and who doesn't. It doesn't matter how much money I have or how much I do or don't have. Those things don't matter to me at all when I'm literally doing it. There's a lot of bands that are just people pleasers, and I'd rather take the risk of trying new things. Whether it's a different kind of sound from a different place that most metal people aren't always familiar with, or whether it's trying, I'll play any instrument I can get my hands on. I don't even care if I can play it or not. I'll figure out how to play it. That's what I am concerned most with, you know. I keep a notebook and a pen by my bed while I'm falling asleep, and I wake up, I write something that's coming to me between the times when you're in and out of sleep, and that's when things come to me the most. What I do is a mirror of my mind, but what's worse is that it's a mirror of other people's minds. And that's...
The despair, you mean? Like the...
Yeah, just more than that, just kind of, hate, fear, death. The other thing that's like not really very understood is that I don't recall ever making claims I can't back up in my lyrics, like I'm gonna kill myself. I don't do that. But instead what I do is I just say, hey, here's a few reasons for you listening to this. You might want to look into dying and killing yourself. You might want to look into that.